Howdy folks, Bluesboyjag here, yet another 3-string cigar box guitar. This is my favorite 3-string cigar box guitar that I have. I probably shouldn't say that because I've got a whole bunch of cigar box guitars hanging on the walls and they're going to be mighty upset when they hear that. But this really is an interesting beast. I'll get to the lesson here in just a second, but as I was jamming and coming up with this tune, I was still kind of amazed at the tone of this guitar, and I've come to determine that the tone of this guitar is more than likely due to the shiny finish, the coated finish of this box, because it's a bright sounding tone and it's a bright sounding box compared to most boxes. That's the only thing I can figure out, but I just love the tone of this thing. All right, so this is an open G, a major key song. For the most part, I'm playing the middle string. The outside 2 strings are open, so we are tuned to open G. That's an A string, tuned down to G. Regular electric guitar A string, tuned down to G. That's a D string, tuned normal to D. And a G string, tuned normal to G. Always tune your G string normal. G, D, G. This has become the default tuning for whatever reason for cigar box guitars, and it really is a great tuning because you can play in many different keys. People ask me that question a lot, and I just pretty much leave this in the key of G for the most part. Every now and then I'll tune it differently for a different song, but most of the time you can either use a capo to change the key, or you can just transpose the song to the key of G. Also, the key of A and G are probably the most used keys for any kind of a song. But I digress. So this song just popped out in about 15 seconds. What I'm doing is using my first finger, sliding up here to the 9th fret. And I'm going to be jumping around on the dotted frets. First finger only. I'm doing an up, down, up, down. Lots of up strums. I like to use my nail on the down strum to give it a brighter tone, but you don't have to. Anyway, here it goes. Really more or less a improv because I'm just sort of jumping around using that riff as the main focus point. So real slow, first finger, middle string, I'm strumming all 3 strings, strumming all 3 strings. What I like to do is choke with my fretting hand. Sometimes I'll choke with my right hand. It just depends on the strumming pattern, I suppose. So if you notice closely, these 3 fingers are sort of, I don't know, it looks like a salute of some kind. First finger is doing the fretting. I'm only fretting the middle string. And in order to choke those chords off, I'm using these fingers that flop around to mute. So real slow. You can't really see it unless you look up close. First finger is doing the fretting, and these fingers are flopping around doing the choking. Now, as far as the strumming pattern, it's pretty straightforward. I like to do a lot of up strums because, especially on this song, because I like this string to be brighter for this particular song and for a lot of other songs as well. That's just my preference. So you've got a low G and a high G. So I like to really emphasize that high G. So I've got the open first string taking care of that. So, choking. What I'm doing is flopping these fingers just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit after I strum. The second finger and the third finger flop down and they kill all the strings. So, back to the song. I'm just following the dots. So I'm up here on the 10th fret, I'm sorry, 9th fret, 7, 5, a real quick open, and then back to the 3rd fret, and then 5. Notice how I'm doing the strum. So the idea here is, as soon as I strum the down up, I'm killing with these fingers. They're flopping just almost imperceptibly. I like to do up strums, like I said, because I like that top G string to really be brighter than the bottom G. So sometimes I do downs, but a lot of times I'll do ups. It's really sort of just an exercise, just jumping around on the different strings. So if I wanted to improvise and kind of fatten it up, make it a little bit more fancy, and again, the choking is with this hand, and that's what makes it funky. Here's the song without any choking at all. So I'm only playing that middle string. That's the only string I'm fretting. So let's add a couple more. By the way, I'm using this finger to strum, and I'm using my nail on the down strum and the fleshy part of my finger, the tip of my finger, for the up strum. Just in case you're wondering. Okay, so I'm only playing so far the middle string, or fretting I should say, the middle string. So let's add a little bit more to it. We're going to add some stuff on the first string and the third string. So let's just kind of improvise here. I'm going to start out playing that song. So there's a little nuance here that I do a lot. Using my nail for brightness. So the outside two strings are open when I'm playing that middle string, and the other two are open when I'm playing the other strings. So I'm only fretting one string at a time. Now, let me show you the muting part of it. I'm doing this riff again from the top. So real slow. If you notice, I'm fretting with the first finger and these fingers are flopping. That means these fingers are killing the resonation of the strings, or muting. So you can go back and forth between muting and not muting. Like right there. Obviously that's muted because I'm killing the strum. So all that chunk, 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 chunk chords, it doesn't look like I'm doing anything because these fingers are pretty much permanently in that position for me when I do this sort of thing. So I'm fretting with the first finger and just flopping these fingers down to do the mute. It's a very, very subtle thing. This right here, believe it or not, if you look, that's my normal fretting stance right there. These fingers are barely above the string, so all I need to do is just relax my hand and it kills the chord. I'm also lifting my first finger off the fretboard on this second string. So when I lift this one off, it kills it because it's not pressed down. And these fingers flop around and they kill the other two strings. It really is easy to do, and it gives you that funky sort of sound. And I'm only fretting on one string, and I'm only using one finger. Only using one string and one finger. Well, I'm actually using all three, but I'm only fretting one string. So let's kind of experiment here. We'll add some more notes and we'll see what we get. I'm going to be jumping around on the outside two strings here too. Third finger on the first string, let's just say 5th fret, and then first finger goes down to the 3rd fret on the first string. Up close, fretting with the 3rd finger. These other fingers are doing the muting. Nothing's happening with the thumb, by the way, it's just hanging there. So, that's kind of neat. So what am I doing there? 3rd finger on the first string, 9th fret, and then down to the 7th. Now I'm moving my 3rd finger to the middle string on the 9th. And then your first finger down here. Now we can really go crazy and do some pull-offs. So let's do some pull-offs and we'll get funky. What am I doing there? I'm strumming on the up pick, or up strum I should say. and then I'm pulling off on the down. Do it real slow. I'm only fretting one string at a time. So we can go from this and add to it, and we end up boogie. I'm still only playing one string and one finger at a time, or I should say fretting one string at a time. Muting with the fretting hand. So, you see how you can start out with a relatively straightforward strum pattern and only using one finger and only fretting on the same string. You can get a lot of notes out of it, and then you can kind of add more funky stuff simply with your strumming style, and now you've got a pretty hefty song. There's lots of stuff going on there. So, check out my website if you haven't already, Bluesboyjag Cigar Box Guitars, now in my 21st year. Happy New Year and all that stuff. Stay warm, and we'll see you next time.